You are not going to like what I have to tell you.
Welcome to Zero Hit Points, everybody. It is Wednesday, January 1st.
All right.
I'm Ryan Miller. He's the human Lemarchand box, Matt Amberg.
You called me. I came.
I just learned what that was. You taught me.
I'm a teacher.
And then turned it around.
I like to provide knowledge.
I mean, I knew about it. I just didn't know what the name of it was.
The stupid name, yeah.
Yeah. Now I know. I knew you would know, though, is the thing.
I do. I did. I dim. I am. I'm dim.
Good start. Hey, Happy New Year.
Thank you. You.
How was
you too.
2016? How'd it go?
You know, could have gone better, I think.
Hey, you're still alive. You still got your health.
Technically,
I'm sorry, you're still alive.
I don't have health. I have health care. That's something I have.
Oh boy, now you're just, why is 2017 going to be bad?
I don't know. I have health care, so I'm fine. I don't know, man. 2017 is going downhill.
Unpopular opinion. What if 2017 is worse?
Oh no, I don't foresee it being better. I'm sure it'll go downhill just in a very different way.
What if at the end of 2017 we're like, man, look at all the brilliant people that got out early.
2016, that it wasn't a time to mourn. It was a time to like, okay, they've got a plan and we're going with it.
The smartest people. Yeah, in retrospect, it's going to be pretty obvious that the smartest people like saw light years, or 1 year in advance.
Hey, you can have a year in a light year. Why not?
Hey man, I'm excited for this show. It's going to be a roller coaster. It's going to be weird. It's going to be not weird.
It's going to be great. I'm excited.
Because no.
Did you have
Nope.
Did you have a good
Yeah, what'd you do for New Year's? What did we do?
We were pretty low key actually. Daisy went and spent the night at a friend's house, and so we were going to have a party, and it just didn't, like, we were very lazy and did not do as much as we wanted to. And so we had a couple friends over, played some VR, watched some movies, and that was it.
It seems ironic for all the times you normally throw a party when Daisy goes and spends the night at somebody else's house. On New Year's Eve, you're like, people would expect a party.
Yeah. So we're going the exact opposite. Don't
smart.
come to our house, because if you do, you will be unhappy and be forced to play VR games.
It is seeming like a theme now. Don't go to the Ambergs unless you want to see a face eater or did you play the face eater game?
We did not play the face eater game.
Okay.
No.
Cool. Happy New Year.
Hey. We one of the things I started doing, I don't know why this came up, but it did, and it continued on through New Year's, was I started watching Friday the 13th movies.
Right.
So I kind of do actually, in fact, know where this kind of kicked off from.
Was it not the Friday the 13th, the game that you?
Okay, funny enough, it was not actually
Okay.
Friday the 13th, the game.
All right.
It certainly kicked off in my head like, oh yeah, I did just play that, and it would be cool to revisit that. But I'd seen the first one relatively recently, and I didn't really want to I didn't want to go back to it, but I did anyways. And part of the reason I did was I was having a discussion with Beth about the longevity of that franchise, and the longevity of franchises came up. We started talking about Nightmare on Elm Street, and then like the most recent, the final Resident Evil movie is coming out too. And
the final,
like in the story of Alice's character, the Mila Jovovich character, like she's
because we believe Paul W.S. Anderson.
I'm hoping for a divorce there, and that's what I'm hoping is causing this to be the last movie, because those two being married sickens me on so many levels.
A divorce of him from Resident Evil,
and Mila Jovovich. I mean, I'm not gonna
I
lie.
wonder what
about
that contract is like. Like,
that she
he
had.
has to make a movie or he loses it. Is it one of those things? Because it sure does seem like one of those things.
The fact that those movies make so much money is mind-boggling to me.
That's true.
But going slightly tangential and keeping on the Resident Evil thing, I sat down this week and I hadn't watched all of the trailers for like the tape things for Resident Evil 7, which is coming. It comes out like in 2 weeks. Did you watch them?
I did. I watched them.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure we actually watched at least 2 of them before as well and spoke about them as trailers.
Yeah.
New trailers that came out for the game.
Right. And so I didn't watch, I didn't know how far they were going with it. They did 3 tapes, like the quote unquote tapes. The videos like equal out to like 8 minutes long.
It's not long, yeah.
So
was Friday the 13th done?
No.
Going?
No, it comes back.
Okay.
A separate discussion. This is just tangential because Resident Evil is what brought me back to Friday the 13th. Again, staying tangential here for a moment.
Sure.
Did those trailers at all, like after watching them, sitting down, knowing the game is coming out in like a few days, are you
24th?
Yeah. Are you like, did those do anything for you? Because there's like a little bit of a story that kind of like, there's no real thread between the videos, but they're all obviously related in the basic sense of being Resident Evil, but did they do anything for you? Like, did they make you go, yeah, I like these, this is a kind of trailer or kind of thing that I want to see to sell me a game? Like, does that do something for you at all?
I mean, it doesn't add anything. Like, we've said a number of times that, everything is looking fantastic from that. Like, I like the direction they're taking the game in. They are sufficiently creepy. Like, there was plenty of jump scare looking things there, but also just atmospherically, it's looking pretty good. It seems to be pulling from different places in the Resident Evil franchise that going back to some roots there. And
yeah,
it looks great. It's not. I mean, I'm not the one to talk about this either. I would turn this conversation over to you in a heartbeat every time.
But this is why I'm asking you because you're not the person that like because you haven't played Resident Evil at all, right?
No, actually, not a single one.
Right. So this being this is a total departure from all the other games. Like, I mean, it's first person, characters don't
From
seem
the
to
most
be
current games. We're not. Yeah.
No, even from the beginning, like from Resident Evil 1 through 6, this is tangential. Like, this has nothing to do.
Whoa.
Yeah, as far as
you can't say Resident Evil 1 through 6 like you're lumping. I don't even think those can be lumped into the same thing.
Yeah, well,
Resident Evil 4, maybe even I know,
No,
was
because
where it started to break off into character action a little
yes,
bit more.
but those characters all relate. The characters in Resident Evil.
The characters relate, but that's a narrative. Are we talking narrative?
I'm talking, I'm talking about like the entire, like, yes, I'm sure this takes place in the Resident Evil world, but in relation to the other games, this has next to no connection from a character perspective, from a story perspective.
Okay, sure, yeah.
So it's interesting, and that's kind of why I was curious. I mean, we had talked about, I had mentioned that I wanted to wait until it came out for VR, but knowing that it's going to be sitting on a shelf for like a year before it hits the Vive or something, I watched these trailers and I got excited about it. And I haven't pre-ordered it. I'm not crazy. Don't be stupid. But I actually think I'm not going to day one it.
I wouldn't blame you if you did pre-order it.
But I think I am going to day two it. Or if
just out of principle,
if reviews come out early and they're good, then maybe I'll day one it. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And it was just, again, tangent.
Okay. All right. Sure. No. Yeah. Friday the 13th. I got you.
Yeah. And going back to those, so this is kind of funny. So Friday the 13th 1 through 3 link up very clearly. You have a really definitive, like they both 2 and 3 refer back to the first movie. They bring back Mom. They actually show like the clips. So the first movie ends, the second movie begins, and it begins exactly where the first movie ends, showing the last little bit about her killing Pamela Voorhees.
Okay.
Then the next movie, like and then that character,
is that Jason's mom?
Yeah.
That's Mom?
Yeah, Pamela was the mom. Then in the sequel, where it's Jason is actually the killer.
Maybe I should get out in front of the fact that I haven't seen any of them.
Okay, so the first movie is not Jason.
I mean, not because I want you to explain them all to me,
no, I
but
understand.
For people listening to my comments from here on out, they're going to be bad.
Okay. The first movie...
It's going to seem like I don't know what I'm talking about.
The first movie is legitimately a revenge flick. that's what the movie is. It's about a killer killing the camp counselors because of a perceived memory, or because of a memory that happened to Pamela's son, Jason, who drowned in a lake.
Sure.
So the first movie, it's never Jason. It's Pamela. They still film it in a very similar manner where you never really you don't see her until the end. And
so that's the twist at the end.
The twist is that it's like, it's a mom. And she's wearing like a nice cable knit sweater, and
not so much of a twist for some of us, but yeah, I got you.
But the sequel, so the sequel picks up exactly where the first one leaves off. Immediately, Jason kills the surviving girl from the first movie, and then
nice.
and then it kicks off to like 5 years after the first movie, and well, Camp Crystal Lake's been shut down, but we're not going to work at Camp Crystal Lake. We're just working at the area like next to Camp Crystal Lake. And that's the other funny thing. The first movie takes place at Camp Crystal Lake. Second movie does not. It takes place down the road. The third movie takes place at Higgins Haven, across the lake on the other side. Jason just like hangs out in this one area.
Yeah, stay out of the area.
Just in general. But what this,
also space, from what I understand.
Only for a little bit. What's interesting to me about these movies is the first three films. I love that the final girl, all three of them get fed up with the situation. There's like a slowdown, like it's a common theme. They do like a slow motion shot of them raising the machete or the axe or whatever, and them chopping down and going for the kill. They never finish it off, except in the case of Pamela, where they lop her head off. But I love that you've got these final girls that, like, they don't cower, they turn it around, and they just get pissed. And it's awesome. And the cool thing about the first three films, I guess more the first two, or the second and third, Jason is a terrifying character, but he's not invincible yet. And that's what I really love. The fourth movie is when Tommy Jarvis shows up, which is Corey Feldman, and that he becomes kind of a running, like, there's a thread between him and Jason where he's the only one that can really kill Jason. But he becomes impossible to hurt in the following films, from like 4 till 11 or whatever. Like, he gets shot and he falls over, but he doesn't make any noise, and he's just there. He's just he's a walking tree stump with arms. But in these movies, he gets hit, he gets punched, he grunts, he groans, he runs, he falls down, he limps, he gets injured.
Huh.
He just looks like they show his face multiple times where it's disfigured. And that's, between that and the actual things he's doing, scary. But he's beatable. He's killable in a way.
How does he get taken out in the later movies?
In a variety of ways. I think one, they drown him. They Tommy ends up wrapping him in chains, and he gets, and I think that's like the seventh one, he gets sunk to the bottom of Crystal Lake.
It's interesting to hear you talk about the girls being the ones that finish him off in the first movies, because that was what I do know about the films is the big amount of flack that they got when they came out, because they were, one of the reasons Friday the 13th has some of the staying power that it does is because it was one of the first slashers, you could say, right? It was a new genre at the time where it got a lot of crap. And it's specifically, I'm a big Siskel and Ebert fan. Like, I've seen somehow the one where they talked about Friday the 13th. But so the movies got a lot of crap for being misogynistic in a way.
Sure.
They would say, because of the way the women were targeted and also exploited both visually and, I'm not going to say diegetically, but I'm going to think it and then say within the movie. But then I didn't know that in the end they are the ones that finish him off. Almost
universally. In fact, I think Tommy is the only character that's the only male that ever actually succeeds, and he doesn't do it by himself. He has help from the final girl.
Huh. See, that's interesting. That's cool.
So the first three, I really enjoyed them. There is so much less to them, which makes them more successful films to me than I remembered. Like, I remember as a kid thinking these are pretty gory, like so many deaths and stuff, but they're not. Like, you just don't see a lot of it. it's so implied. There's a lot of arm raise, camera shows that, maybe a thing of like blood being thrown, but you're not seeing a ton of it.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's cool. I'm looking forward to going through. I'm going to try and do 2 to 3 because they're like an hour and a half long. They're super short. So I'm going to try and
so you only watched the first one?
No. I'm going to try and get 4 through 6 done this week.
So
because
I've
done
1 through 3.
Yeah, through
this week.
Thursday through
Last week.
Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah. So
cool.
I'm going to try and do.
Looking forward.
I'm going to try and do 4 through 6 to see what happens.
Maybe I'll pick back up my remaining. I only have like 3 Cravens left for diehard fans of the show. When I used to watch all the Wes Craven movies.
Diehard fans of the show. Man, Wes Craven directing Die Hard would have been cool.
Hey, yeah. I watched Rogue One again. I went to the theater.
And okay.
I have a buddy that I grew up with, again, for diehard fans. If you heard me talk about my when I came up and I had a friend that worked at the movie theaters and we could go to movies as often as we wanted for free, and that's kind of where movies came into being for me.
Sure.
Still real great friends, and in a lot of ways a movie, especially a Star Wars movie, isn't seen until I see it with him, and his schedule's a little bit more tightly packed than mine. So
I get
came together and we could hang out, and he wanted to go see a movie. And I mean, it was kind of down to that or Assassin's Creed. So it was kind of only down to that.
So it wasn't really down to that. It was just down to Star Wars.
Still good. Rogue One. Like the things that stood out even more this time around are the way that entire story builds out the gray area in the Star Wars universe in a way that's, I can't say hasn't been done before, but maybe cinematically at least not real well. Discounting maybe the Clone Wars, the TV shows or something like that.
Sure.
But the way it digs into Cassian's story about him and the things he's done, the dark things he's done in the name of the rebellion, which is again what happens in the real world, and the way that they build that out, and how it rolls into Donnie Yen's character, where he's not a Jedi, he's just Force sensitive.
Right.
Like he can sense the crystals, like he can sense things like that, and he's not. He can't use the Force.
He is one with the Force, and the Force is with him.
And especially for the way they've talked about that as a religion for a long time.
Yeah.
To have never kind of fleshed out the acolytes in that way is super cool.
And that's where the again, it's I don't know what they're going to do with it now, but the original idea, and Cassian's the one who mentions it, that they're members of the Wills.
Defender of the Wills.
Yeah. And that's what what you're looking for. That's what they were supposed to be. And the overall Luke Skywalker story was supposed to be a journal entry based off of somebody from the Wills explaining what happened, essentially.
Right. It was, and it's cool, just the way they made the fringes of the universe. Like, and I don't know if it's because we've been, had so much of the main of the universe, but it seems so much more interesting than anything that I've seen about Star Wars in a really long time. The dog fights are also done really, really coolly in that they're made. Like they add film grain. They might the whole movie looks like it could have been directed by Blomkamp, but the fight scenes, which also especially, cool. No, yeah, amazing. Like honestly, I don't know how much different it would have been from what we got, but
good question.
It's great. But the dogfight scenes especially, like they recreate the look and the sound. Like the sound design is also amazing. Like beyond the whole theme being reworked and rearranged and played with so often, besides the Darth Vader theme, which kind of comes back in, when he shows up, whatever. But then they get like character voice actors or actors even. Like this movie is typecast like I don't even know the original trilogy was typecast, like they've chosen people that look like actors from the original trilogy. And I'm not just talking Mon Mothma. I'm talking about,
Dodonna.
They have that look.
Yeah. The guy who does, Admiral Akbar looks exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just the old school was done really, really well. And up to the analog, technology even, which is their solution is almost just to lean into that. Like the whole back end of that story rests on wireless communication, which if you step back for a second and obviously see it in terms of what goes on nowadays, is total garbage. Like if you're going to analyze the last, what they have to do, and I guess we've already spoiled it, but what they have to do to get the signal up into the air, like it's dumb. Like they need the shield down, but they can get only, it's the size of the file. If you don't step away from a bit from that, yeah. But they make it work. They lean into it, and the whole design, like all the computer screens, like really cool.
It was. I was a huge fan of their ability to introduce, and this is something that I find so difficult with Star Wars, and Lucas kind of screwed it up on his own. And so seeing,
What?
Yeah, I know, but the prequels kind of get this weird little pass because of the time, the time break between that and when episode 4 kind of occurred. So there's a little bit, I give them a little bit of leeway on what technology looked like and why everything was so opulent and all that stuff. But
why R2 could fly then,
right? But
not later.
I freaking love that Gareth Edwards, like he leaned into taking everything we recognize and taking the tiniest little bit of influence from Lucas's prequels to make this kind of in-between thing where we're seeing things that didn't exist in the original trilogy.
You think he's got some prequel influence in there?
I just from a design perspective, not from nothing else. Just in the sense that I think there are some. I think there are a couple of I mean,
Jimmy Smits is in there. Like they make good on his character,
right,
pretty.
Yeah.
They make good on a lot of stuff.
And
but I would say design-wise, it's
no. I simply mean taking the retrofuturism from the prequels and putting it into a spot where it logically looks like it would upgrade to where it was in Rogue One. Because there's a huge jump. If you look at the weapons, for example, look at the weapons in episode 3, episode 2, and then look at the ones in episode 4. There's some pretty giant jumps in what we see there. Like those weapons do not look terribly close.
I guess maybe
that's all I'm talking about. Some of the colors, some of the weaponry.
I get that.
It fits this nebulous area where stuff that we never saw before and stuff that we knew happened kind of melded together, and he did a great job with it.
He definitely did.
It's great.
For sure. It was fun to go back, and the whole CGI people was actually
worse.
Still a bummer, but now it was worse because it's still there.
But that one scene, did you catch the one scene with Tarkin where there's
I know exactly. Yeah, I knew exactly. Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
it looks good.
Yeah,
and then he moves a little bit farther.
Mm-hmm.
But it was actually cool because I was prepared to ignore it, so I think it gets better in that way. That I don't know.
That's good.
Whatever. Everything we said last week still stands, but
now
still cool.
Final question in regards to that film has nothing to do with that film, but have you seen the movie that he directed prior to that, Monsters?
I have not.
It's just a good little solid story. The sequel, not so good, but the first one that he did, freaking great.
Yeah, I know nothing of his work, actually. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I'll check it out.
It's just kind of a really, I think it's a PG-13 monster movie that's a little...
I'm looking for G. Sorry.
I only got the string. Speaking of G-strings, I like playing games where characters wear G-strings, which is why I finally booted up WWE 2K16 this week.
Oh, man
butts.
The G-string segue.
Yeah.
Dangerous, but the payoff is great.
The payoff is fantastic. There was an ultimate payoff. It was an ultimate warrior payoff. I don't
Sure, yeah. Segues just keep coming.
That game, I cannot wait to stream that with other people because
so this was a free game we downloaded for this reason.
Exactly. And now that I've tested it and played with it a little bit, it is absolutely the right game for us.
So it's got some problems.
This game has so many weird, okay, I played a lot of wrestling games when I was younger. None of them were as obnoxiously silly and complex as this. This is one where you've got to do you have no prompt outside of the moment you have to hit right trigger to reverse something. So that's hilarious. You're watching the guy walk around your corpse that you can't move for some reason because he kicked you in the head one time. You fell down and you're like, oh, my head, I'm dying. So you've got to wait for the computer to figure out when they're going to hit a button or do a move. And then, got it. Up too fast. You got hurt. Too slow. You got hurt. I actually, the only match I've won so far, I won by disqualification. I accidentally threw the dude out of the ring. And then when he kept trying to get in the ring, I kept punching him and throwing him back out. The computer got so pissed, it grabbed a chair and slid into the ring with it and tried to hit me and disqualified. I won. All right.
I was there for that too. We just hooked up.
It was great. Oh. I don't know what to say about this game other than it's going to be a lot of fun because it is a lot of buttons, a lot of contextual things, and we can create our own wrestlers. So
I should be preparing ahead of time for this. Is this what we're going to do tomorrow?
Probably not. This is something you definitely need to get a minute handle on.
Okay.
Because it'll be stupid and really fun not knowing how to do it, but having a little bit of a grasp will make it that much better.
Hey, if anybody has a little bit of a grasp, it's me.
It's you. So that I dug into that. I also Super Mario Run has just been. Mario. I just want to play more Mario, so I started.
Did you want to say anything more about Super Mario Run, or just?
No, it's the thing that scratched it caused me to plug my Wii U back in. It had been unplugged for a while for reasons, and I started playing Super Mario Brothers U again.
Said half of the United States.
It was nope, different reasons. That game is so solid. I am absolutely I adore the way Nintendo decided to animate that game and the future Mario's following. I love it. I love how it looks. There's this, I don't know how to explain the quality of the animation, like what it is and what the drawings, like how bubbly and fun.
Nintendo-esque.
Yeah, but it's something that I mean, it's almost more.
No, I know exactly what you're
Konami?
talking about. There was a time.
Capcom?
Oh, maybe.
No,
I
it's
don't know
not.
what you're
I'm just
talking
trying.
about at
I'm
all. All right. Well, tell me if I'm on the right path here. There was a time when Nintendo kind of consolidated its design in a way that hadn't quite been done. It's probably GameCube era because it also matched up with the graphical fidelity of that console. But it's almost Apple, almost Disney.
Yes.
In a sense.
Yeah, it's like a lot of rounded edges and very bubbly,
harmless.
Yeah, and I love it for there are plenty of places where this art style just doesn't do it for me. Mario's World is one where it does. I can't. And the fact that he's got like an ice fireball now, which it makes sense. It's so cool. He's like, hey, icy hot, rub your back, feeling good.
I played New Super Mario Brothers Wii, which was, I think, wasn't that the 4-player one where you could grief people pretty easily?
Possibly. You can do it in this one, too.
Okay, and I think this was the sequel to that one. Okay, yeah. All right.
It's good, man.
It's the same style as
I'm
New Super Mario Brothers. It's a stupid thing to say.
It is. It's New Super Mario Brothers for the Wii U.
Wii U, fair.
Yeah. It's really good. I don't know. I've got probably halfway through it at this point.
You gonna finish it out, or is this
I'll finish it.
Fleeting?
No, the Mario games I always finish. I finished it once before. I'll do it again.
Oh, you've already played this to the end before.
Yeah. I played it. I've got a save file that has like 1 billion lives and all the stars and stuff.
All right.
I also had a few hours that I only used 45 minutes of to stream the other day, and I streamed some Clustertruck. They did some holiday levels and holiday updates, and man, that game is just a good time to sit down with for about 43 minutes and 22 seconds after leaving a stream on for 14 hours. It was totally just doing nothing. I'm surprised we didn't get suspended. But
Whoa, wait.
yeah, I streamed on last Thursday. I streamed Overwatch,
I remember.
and I apparently forgot to turn the stream off because I sat down at my Xbox on Friday morning, and Dustin messages me, and he's like, "Hey, you streaming? Because there's nothing on there." And I go and log on to Twitch. 14 hours. I'm like, all right. That was good.
And nobody noticed.
Nobody noticed. There were 2 viewers at the time. The highlight.
There were 2 viewers, like when you found you had left it on.
Yeah. The highlight.
Shoot, maybe we've been going at this the wrong way.
No, I'm telling you, we should just not do anything. It's attracting more. The highlight of all of this was though, while it was streaming.
Check out 0 hit points. They finally stopped trying.
I normally, when I'm like prior to streaming and when I finish streaming, I click on OBS, I click the mic aux button to mute so that if I keep recording or whatever, forgot to do that for 14 hours. No idea.
Oh.
No idea what was heard. I deleted the video, unfortunately, but so that was good.
Oh, well, now what am I going to do?
I don't know. You can watch my Clustertruck stream. It was fun. They did a whole bunch of snowy levels with giant snowballs rolling down and crashing into the trucks and stuff. It was a blast. I had a lot of fun with it.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. And then New Year's Eve, we did VR stuff. I mentioned that. We did the Google Earth thing. And
yeah, how was that? I've heard this making the top of people's Game of the Year lists.
I wouldn't go that
circles.
far with it. It is legitimately one of the coolest things, though. I was able to go back to my house as a child, like my childhood house in Massachusetts, and I was able to see it. And like there are points where you can kind of zoom way in and be kind of street level, but it doesn't look very good. So you're kind of a giant. You're kind of like Godzilla sized over stuff.
Yeah, I've heard that looks not as good, but is maybe even better for it. Like you start to enter in some like the edges of the virtual world are showing, and it's nuts. And
it is. It's bananas.
Matrix type way or something.
It is. The weirdest thing is totally like looking at, you have the globe. You can zoom all the way out to where you can see just the globe from space, and you can move around the Earth and then zoom in and zoom in and zoom in. So like you do that, and the first place it took me was like Paris. Like that was the place it launched me into, and to just stand there, and I have seen pictures of the Arc de Triomphe, and I've seen pictures of the Eiffel Tower. I've seen videos of all these things. But
Lemarchand.
I've seen the videos of what happens when you open Lemarchand's configuration, the toy box. But like to be that close in a virtual sense was amazing. It was mind blowing.
That's cool.
And when Beth put that on, she was for like 45 minutes to an hour just. I'm like, all right, are you done or what's going on? It's like, no, I'm visiting Reykjavik. Piss off.
And this is while you had people over as well?
That was just before. When people came over, they did it too, and they were significantly impressed. It's cool.
Yeah. Is that on everything?
I think so. I know it's available for Oculus and Vive. I don't know if it's on for PSVR yet.
Okay. It seems like it wouldn't be hard to put it there. Might be one of the better performing games.
Could be
on that one.
I also did last Thursday. I streamed by myself because somebody deemed it not worthy of like, I don't want to do it. I'm gonna go spend time with my quote unquote family because I air quotes love them. I don't know. Whatever. So I streamed some Overwatch on my own. And I did my comp placements, the first 4 matches, I think of that went pretty well. I get stuck, in the comp matches, playing the same roles over and over again, which is kind of a bummer, but,
is it support?
No, I actually,
really?
I end up usually being one of the tanks. I end up usually as Reinhardt. It's very rare that I get to do DPS characters. I did get to do a couple here, and I played a ton of. I spent a ton of time this past week. Now and 2 hours doesn't seem like a lot, but when that's the only character you're playing, 2 hours is a lot of Sombra time.
2 hours seems like a lot of time.
Yeah, and I did it for Sombra. So I've spent, and that's, I mean, you got to remember, 15 minutes a game at most, 20 minutes maybe. Like, those games.
So what, you burn you out on Sombra?
No,
You
no,
love
no.
Sombra.
No, I really like her. I'm spending a lot of time with her now, and on the PC in particular. She's a character that I'll never get to use in comp. Not now anyways, but
for being OP or
no,
not?
for being far underpowered. She one of her bigger problems, and it's probably the single thing that there's two things that need to change. One is she kind of suffers from a similar situation the Tracer suffers from, where the minute you hit your translocate button to move, you can be killed in both spots at the same time. So you could be killed translocating from point A to point B. You can be killed at point B if things go really badly. And that's an issue Tracer has too, where she can do the rewind. She can get killed at point A and point B. It just depends.
Is something that gets fixed, or that's kind of the trade-off?
I kind of doubt it. I don't know that that's something that can be fixed. I mean, because at that point you're saying, I mean, I don't know. I guess if you hit the E to translocate or rewind, to me that's like you should be invincible. You're gone. It should be immediate, but it's not.
I guess the solution would have to be invincibility, because they're probably up against the same reason you can still sometimes get shot barely around the corner while playing that game.
Yeah,
it's because of the ping rate. Is that the
tick rate? It's
tick rate.
It's more the way that they
tick
just
pings.
It's more the way they choose to in those cases, it's the shooter gets the advantage as opposed to the other. So the first shooter tends to get an advantage in general, and in this case, and Blizzard said as much. Shooter gets the advantage because they don't want you just being a receptacle. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, they've yeah.
I don't care. I really like
that game.
Sombra.
Is 99%. It's one of our best games of the year.
It's definitely, and I love Sombra. I'm having a lot of fun with her. That game continues to be enjoyable. I did not end up getting the Oni skin, which sucks. I didn't get a chance to finish out my Heart of the Swarm or Hearts of the Storm or whatever the hell that MOBA is.
Swarm. Yeah, no. Is that the time limit's up on that then?
Yeah,
or?
It ended yesterday, I think.
Yeah.
So
well. Some people just weren't made for MOBAs.
Nope, and that's why I'm uninstalling Overwatch. Over Squatch. All characters are Sasquatch. Game takes place in Alaska. I played the other thing I did. I played some. You and I actually both played some Forza.
Yeah.
Forza 3. I got the
Forza Horizon 3.
Yeah, I had a gift given to me by Sliptide, so I have the Blizzard Mountain. Check.
Yeah, we can call it a gift. We can call it a bribe. You know,
whatever you want to do. I guess maybe it's he was look.
He got his name mentioned on the show. So
Sliptide, he came to us and he was like, "Hey guys, it'd be great if you could change up your theme song a little bit because getting a little old." So he was like, "Hey, what if I give you Blizzard Mountain?" And then I was like, "I'll talk to Ryan about it."
You're right. Did everybody like the new song?
You did?
Write in. Tell us. This is quick aside. We have a lot of things in store. We've had them in store and have been trying to get them in store.
Look, our distributors aren't very good. Okay,
0 hit points.
That's where we're at.
And I think part of my mistake was trying to get it all together for a huge simultaneous launch. So maybe not. Maybe we work on one thing at a time and we get it out there. And 2017 is phase 3 or 2.
It's the year
or 1.
It's the
of
year
0 hit
of,
points.
The year of the trickle.
Yes. So get yourself checked, and the song is out today. There's going to be some design decisions along the way, and then some bigger things that will come.
They will. Bigger things will come. Blizzard Mountain was a big thing.
Yes.
That was fun.
Back to Forza. How much Blizzard did you play?
Not a ton. I got up there. I did the first race. I kind of drove around a little bit. It is very cool. Like the environment looks cool, and you definitely feel the snow. And when you hit some of the areas that have blizzard warnings, like that's crazy. It's dark.
It looks beautiful. You can't play the game without seeing a trailer about that thing, and it looks beautiful.
Especially now. Yeah.
It's on all the loading screens. Like there was a legit commercial in there. In the middle of trying to
You were playing the game. Yeah. You were playing it. They were like, "Oh, hey, do you want to buy this?"
Well, they threw it in there because it was like create a new. So I've been mainlining the game now, which I said I wanted to do, and did. And it got to a point where I had to build a new festival, which are the kind of the hubs that you build up and they unlock different things. And it said build new festival. So I said, okay, build it. And I chose, it gives you a choice between the Outback or I forget now. It starts with an F.
The Yarra Valley.
Yarra Valley does not.
I don't know why you want the
that was
steakhouse instead of like an entire like beautiful forest, but whatever.
Whatever. We chose the same thing.
You're
The
an
computer
American.
told me. It said your other friends chose this too, and there was your picture.
Your friends chose a steakhouse.
So yeah, then so I chose the desert one, and then it was near the blizzard icon. I don't know, but then it launched in the trailer that was like snow things, this drifting on mountains.
Yeah.
And then it came. It's like snow, and I was like, do I get a piece of this for free or something? And then I hit a button, and it's like, you know, the buy comes up. I was like, no, just what the... And then I didn't know where to go. It completely broke the flow. So I was like, do I have to go to the thing?
You do.
Do I do? And then I did. Anyways, I'm enjoying that game.
It's really good. It's a lot of fun. Once you figure out all the little ins and outs and the little things. I had
to ask you a lot of questions. We were doing co-op campaign and...
Yeah, game comes really quickly though once you figure it out. Like
it does, yeah.
Yeah, it's as soon as once you get the tuning aspect of the cars down, and I just mean buying the tunings, that just opens up so much of the game.
So I haven't done that part yet, and I might actually save that till the end, and or I hit too much of a wall, because I'm the guy that likes, like, I'll choose to be led in a game more often than not, because I want to see like what the designers had in mind and like what their kind of the natural progression of the game was to them or something like that. So with this game, it's obviously far less of a thing, but
yeah, I mean, I guess sure, I can understand what you're saying. I guess I don't view it that way with this in particular, because part of their design decision was the ability to tune the cars, particularly
and the ability to make your own tunes and throw them out there on the web for people to get. I get that totally, but I guess I want to save myself from buying something that's going to turn me into basically God mode, you know? Like I'm having fun kind of stretching out the handling of the cars as is, you know, getting in the cars they tell me to get in at the times they tell me to get in them for whatever reasons, so I can get an idea of the breadth and whatever. I'm super early in the game, so this is really, I mean...
No, you're in the same spot I was at the beginning, and when you figure out the tuning thing, you'll do it with some cars, you won't do it with other cars.
Yeah.
And the other thing the game does is it will dynamically ask you at various points, hey, you're winning a lot of races. Do you want to bump the difficulty up? And it'll do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's happened.
Look, I don't even know what difficulty it's on, actually.
I don't know where it started, but whenever it asks me, I just say, yeah, sure. And so I always have challenges.
It's pretty good for me early on. Like I'm still having to try for a lot of them.
And for the most part, the game kind of, unless you choose not to increase the difficulty, the game for the most part will follow where you're at car wise. But if you start doing all the tunes and stuff, then and you don't choose to change the difficulty, then they're always going to stay kind of in that lower register, and you will begin to just kind of stomp through most races.
And for most of the things that you're doing, like the little side things, you don't have to get first. It's just complete.
Right.
It shows a gold ribbon, so it's kind of...
There are absolutely points. So with the
where
race...
I'll have to come in first, I would imagine. Sure, yeah.
Yeah, yes, those are generally the showcases, but the other races I think you could just finish. But there are side things where having a really well-tuned car makes a huge difference. Like there are certain jumps where you got to get a certain distance, right?
Yeah.
Being able to accelerate to a top speed in a shorter space, so you don't have to worry about like a corner or something, makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we tried one of the...
How many times?
The blueprint. There's like the blueprint bucket lists or something like that. Like for every mode, you can kind of create your own. We tried to do one that was like a community one, but I guess it was presented by Forza. I don't know exactly, but it was one of the online things, and all we needed to do was like a combined jump total of like 1,089 or something like that. And when we finally did do it, you got like 800 and something. So it wasn't hard, but we just couldn't both get off the jumps. Like it was set up in a way that was like a winding road up to it. And we were trying to cut it, and then we would like come up a bump perfectly, and one time I just like floated upside down perfectly, like while you were. Man, that took a long time.
I think my favorite part, yeah, and it was really funny. Like, it was a comedy of errors. I would hit a jump
You're
and
having fun.
Like
yeah.
the first one I hit, like I got 600 or 700 feet or something. But then when I landed, I ran into like it hit something that could move.
And it didn't even save it for you.
And
it must have been like a split seconds before your four wheels touched the ground or something like that.
I don't know. And it was like, you failed. I'm like, son of a. So I tried to go back, and then I just and then at one
and that was after I completed, or no, you completed, I failed, I completed, you failed.
And then there was one
both of us failed.
There was one where you were like, all right, here we go, and you get like 700 feet, 800 feet. And then I'm like, I didn't think you were going to make it. So I hit the brakes and I kind of skidded. And then I just kind of like pooped myself off the side to like
oh, I didn't get to see
like
that. That's
40. Nice.
But you did it.
My favorite part of yesterday's shenanigans was the video that you took. You've got it. It's up on your Xbox account on the thing.
Oh, did you watch that?
Yeah, you took it.
Ryan
Ryan goes off a jump, and an AI character goes off a jump like right behind him in the screen. You could see it. His car lands. The other car lands directly on top of him, and like with such force, just pushes him right through the floor into nothingness.
Where I barrel roll many times.
Achievement unlocked.
Yeah, I need to GIF that. We'll throw it up.
You are a Star Fox.
Forza Horizon 3. I'm sure we'll talk more about that. In fact, no, we should probably Gears. We should probably just finish Gears. Maybe throw it in an extra stream. Just get that campaign done.
Okay.
Or not. What are you thinking?
Sure.
Okay. I also played a lot more Codenames, that board game we talked about last week. Still had family over. He also found the picture version, which is basically the same thing, except you're laying out tiles of pictures, which you then have to give code names to get people to guess them. Still super fun game. We played, I don't know if we played any other games, honestly. We played a lot of that game. It's fun.
I like it. Sounds good.
Played some Carcassonne with my wife on the phone. Beat her. She obliterated me first game, and then I beat her by 1 point, which is almost better than obliterating somebody if you think about it.
It's way more aggravating.
Yeah. I might post that too. I took a bunch of screens of all the games we were playing over the weekend and just didn't put them up. I have been playing more Super Mario Run. I have all of the coins on everything but the last level. I just need to beat the last level and get all the coins on the last level.
Nice.
And then
so
pretty much it, except for Toad Rally.
Have you been doing all 3 coins per level?
Yeah.
Like so you just play the level until you get all 3 coins, then you move on?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just finished World 1, all of those for all 3 sets of coins, so I'm on
nice.
2.
I love it, man. I love the loop of that game.
I'm having fun with it. There are definitely a couple of runs I've had where I'm like, yep, I will.
I've been there too.
Miyamoto, I'm cutting off a finger for every time I die now. I mean, your finger, not mine.
Yours, yeah. It's good. It's really well designed. Like, again, I don't get anybody who's saying that it's a poor runner or a poorly designed Mario game. Like, everything's coming out in that game to me. Great.
Yeah, and
Toad Rally. I mean, I'm still getting into it, but it's kind of like every day I'm like, how am I into this? Like,
I think I'm done. Yeah, I think I'm over. I'm pretty much done with Toad Rally at this point. I just don't. It's doing nothing for me. It's boring.
Just getting into getting buildings and building up my stupid.
I really
have all the areas unlocked now.
Yeah, I really like that idea. I just don't want to spend that time. Like, it's just Toad Rally is not fun for me. It's just so.
You're trying to get different colored toads, and when you get like 5 or 6 people, it's like choose one person to play against. And for a while I had been choosing the person that always comes up with all the color of toads in their profile.
Yeah.
Because then when you win, you get some of each color. So I thought that would be the best way. I hit a wall on that really hard.
Yeah.
Like there's some levels. There's like 2 variations on the levels, which the levels do seem to change as you go up through the world tour.
Man, I don't know. Okay.
The one with all the colors, like I couldn't.
No,
like I said, I hit a wall. Like I had to stop doing that.
I'm talking about the levels, man. They are not changing for me. I get the same 2. It's either one of the variations of the airship with the cannonballs, or it's one of the castles, and it's always the castle with the stupid doors that I refuse to play. I just will not do it. Period.
So I finally figured out the trick to Well, to one of those anyways.
Just
but
not fun. That's not
so
fun.
I think what happened with you is that because I've been playing through the World Tour and then I'll go play Toad Run because I don't want World Tour to be over. So I've seen like all sorts of different kind of, it's always the same type of level. Like it's always a ghost level or something. It just does a different map, or sometimes it intermixes it. Same with the flying ships and stuff like that. But because I've been playing it back and forth like that, I've seen it change. I don't know there's a way to go back.
No, there doesn't appear to be.
I don't know why I said it like that. But so yeah, you probably, when you started, because you didn't play through Toad Rally like that, right? You kind of just have dove into it at like maybe like 2 or 3 separate chunks.
I went back and
so
forth.
You didn't see the change. You're just getting the same ones over and over. Probably because you had been through the World Tour a lot more than I had.
And that's the thing, is like early on, I saw totally levels from the earlier levels. But then when I finished the game and I went back, like it does not rotate at that point. Now you are just stuck with the last couple. That's all I'm getting.
What I had to do, rather than choose the people with all the colored toads, is I had to just choose people with 2 colored toads. Red, it's usually red and another color. Sometimes they'll be blue and green. So from then on out, I've been doing just red and blue, and I've been rotating until I get all of the numbers up, blue, green, purple, whatever. And that has been way more effective. Like, I don't know if it's just, generally speaking, easier to do it like that, or the people just lower levels, so their ghosts are easier to run against. I don't know. But if you haven't tried doing that, definitely try doing that. I've been trying to eke out, like, probably not. Also, yeah.
Pass. I believe you. But
also, Android users know more date on when that's coming out. But now you can do what we did as iOS people and go to the store and click a button that says, "Tell me about this when it comes out."
Because there is no chance you're going to hear about it when it does release.
Yeah, that didn't work for me anyway. Cause I knew it was coming out the 15th, so I had the whole like, "Tell me when Mario Run comes out." It didn't tell me until like hours after I had downloaded it because I knew it was out. So.
And then you deleted it and re-downloaded it because you were so excited.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, it's out again," for me. The other big time sink this week was Mr. Adam Parkin of the Parkins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Friend of the show, sent me some Lego Dimensions sets. We've been trading back and forth, and I had got 2 sets from season 2. I think they might still be calling it, of Lego Dimensions, which was the Mission Impossible level pack, and this one I bought, but I'll be sending to him the Sonic the Hedgehog level pack.
I like it. So the way you said that, Sonic, like the Hedgehog. Oh, I thought you got the Sonic the drive-in sandwich, like the hamburger place. Like that was like, that's cool.
Well, because people get excited. Yeah, no, you have to differentiate because they're like, "Ooh," and they're like the Hedgehog, and they're like, "Dang it, why did you say it like that?"
Yeah, no, like. Maybe skip Sonic and just be like, "Hey, Knuckles is involved. Tails is here."
No, I'll show you Knuckles. It's involved, all right.
I'll show you Tails.
Mission Impossible is fun enough. Like it introduces new things. You're still playing a Lego game here, so it introduces new things that you can do. Like you got suction cups you can climb in with. You can got disguises where he rips off the face anytime he changes disguises. It follows the plot of the first movie, which is really cool. So you are fighting Lego John Voight.
Sure.
And at differing points in the narrative, Lego Jean Renoir.
Jean Reno.
Reno. I always do that. See what happens when I try to say something French?
Yeah, but Renoir is correct if you're talking about a painter. Although Jean was
maybe
not
that's what you're fighting.
A painter. I knew it.
The co-op aspects of it though aren't great. I played this with my daughter, and there were times like before the Lego games have been really good about if you have to split up, like there's still something for the other person to do.
Yeah.
Or you can be brought to where because different characters can get into different areas based on different abilities. They dropped the ball on this one a bit. Like there were times where the Tom Cruise character with his new abilities was off doing something, and the other person had nothing. Like just sit and wait, man. Basically.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Which you get the feeling Tom Cruise probably does that a lot to people anyways, but not good gameplay.
Technically you're not left alone. When Tom Cruise takes off to go do a thing, he leaves you with literature from Scientology. So
at which point you are more alone than ever.
Lego Scientology, the video game.
Lego Scientology. Oh, there was a point because Mission Impossible is a weird franchise to go into too. I mean, they're pulling really cool stuff from the 80s at least, like the Gremlins and the ETs. That can make some kind of sense to me, but Mission Impossible is kind of a weird. I started to wonder if at one point Tom Cruise went up to Telltale or Traveler's Tales. Sorry, first he went up to Telltale and they're like, "Sorry, we don't make that game." And he's like, "Oh, it's confusing with the name."
Yeah.
And he went to Traveler's Tales and he's like, "Hey, what if you do a Mission Impossible thing so my daughter can play me?"
And then they were like, "How the hell did you get into this building? I mean, I know you're Tom Cruise, but do we not have some
and then
security around here?"
Starts shooting the lightning from his hands, and he's like, "You will." And they're like, "Dang it!"
Starts jumping up and down on people's desks.
Days of Thunder was unwatchable.
He's like Emperor Palpatine. I love it.
The Sonic the Hedgehog pack is cool in the retro stuff. Like it does a 2D thing where you are running side to side and you got the speed and you can run faster and you're going in loops and corkscrews, stuff like that. Like which this is a theme for Lego Dimensions because they also have a lot of Midway arcade stuff. The stuff that they recreate in Lego Dimensions with the 2D stuff is actually pretty cool, pretty fun.
Yeah,
like
sure.
It's a fun take on it, generally speaking, and that holds true here. But there's like an underwater level, and overall it's kind of not a good pack, which then I started to wonder if it was maybe just like a whip smart commentary on the state of Sonic games today.
Sure.
I don't know. It wasn't very good.
Say it again,
both of those, though, like really long.
So really long and not good, which equals out to a pretty terrible minute.
Not great either, but just, I mean, if you're looking for more, I don't even think they needed to do that with the season 2 stuff. Like, I think the length of the level packs from season 1 was pretty cool. But if you want more game out of for your money with the season 2 stuff, you got it, basically.
And whether you want it or not.
I mean, they use it to bring you through like key moments in, like they use it with Mission Impossible to give you the opener, and then they give you the hanging by the thread scene in the, the one.
Yeah,
and then the helicopter scene at the end where the helicopter blade almost gets you.
The helicopter blade. I wish they would do Lego Speed, and I mean the drug. But what else?
And then Frog Fractions, my friend.
We did it. I
took the dive. You took the dive.
I took the dive after you took the dive.
So this is what I'm going to do for Frog Fractions. It's been out, so spoilers, whatever. The sequel is roaring up the charts. Probably, I don't know. It's in a different game within a game. At the end of Frog Fractions, I cried harder. I laughed harder. I cried because I was laughing more than any other game I've ever played. Bar none. Never happened to me.
All right.
So funny. So I want to walk through Frog Fractions 1.
All right.
Both to see what you got, because it sounds like what we got might have been a little different. Both to also explain the phenomenon, because I feel like there's got to be a healthy contingent of people out there that are just like, I don't get it.
I didn't get it at the beginning either, and it was like right after I texted you that I don't know what the hell the point of this is, that I accidentally figured out.
Which is why I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, no,
you can't.
It totally happened by accident. Like
when you went underwater.
Yeah, I hit it right after. Like what I didn't understand was going and I figured this out again before you told me. So everything you told me, I figured out just before you would tell me whatever it was. And you didn't tell me how to do anything.
I didn't tell you anything.
No.
I couldn't. I just told you. It was so hard to tell you because you're like, do I just keep going? And I'm like, I can't tell you. So I'm like, yes, you just keep going. And you're like, and you ask me something else and I'm like, the standard progression, just keep doing the standard progression. Okay, so you start off a frog on a lily pad, you're eating flies and fractions fly out. It's under the guise of teaching you fractions, even though at no point is that actually what's happening. They say fractions, but if you think about it, you're like, how's this teach? And then it'll break into frog fractions teaches typing, and you'll have to type words to get the flies off the screen. You can buy upgrades, which are funny in their own. One of them's a cyborg brain. One of them's something else. One of them's laser targeting, which you can buy and then uninstall and then buy and then uninstall. I did 5 times.
No, you have to, I think. I don't know.
Limit is on that.
Because I did it a lot.
Well, so you get some, soon enough you can move. You can turn your lily pad into a turtle and then into a dragon, and you can move back and forth. So, but you're still, it always says wave 1, even when you complete it, it just says wave 1 again. So this seems to be what all the game is, but eventually it turns into like a bullet hell where the flies are shooting stuff at you. So you have to start moving a little bit to progress through the levels. And I went through a number of levels like that because I'm not a big PC gamer, so even WASD isn't like super intuitive to me. So I started to get in it, started kind of to remember some stuff. But then while the bullet hell is happening, while you're having to move more, you will at some point, and this is what I couldn't tell you, accidentally go underwater. And then you're like, oh, there's stuff underwater. And you're supposed to be defending your fruit from flies, which the fruit is what you buy upgrades with. So you accidentally go underwater and there's just a pile of fruit there. It's been building up. And you're like, oh. So then you grab all the fruit and you have like a bunch of, it's also the currency. So then you can buy the warp drive upgrade.
And by the way, when you get that fruit, so as you play, as you like each time you finish a wave, quote, like whatever fruit's there, you'll get a fraction of the fruit, and then it upgrades your fruit. Like there's a counter at the top. So you have 6 fruit, 8 fruit, whatever. When you go down and you pick up all the fruit on the thing, it just says billions of fruit. That's all it says.
Which you can then buy the warp drive with. And then it sends you into space, and there's asteroids, and you're still shooting flies again for a while, but the asteroids are pushing you. But then it's like you're flying to the bug's homeworld.
Yeah, Bug Mars.
Bug Mars, that's right. And then there's a boss battle, which is kind of like standard, again, bullet hell, like, Gradius looking stuff. But then you get arrested for killing the bug boss, and then it turns into like a Phoenix Wright kind of visual novel thing where you're in a courtroom being tried by a butterfly, and he's asking you all these questions, and you have several responses, all of which are funny. But then it turns into you getting a working holiday visa so that you can stay on Bug Mars, and then you're back to, again, doing frog fractions, which is, shooting in a, so it's not Defender, it's Galaga? Yeah, basically just kind of shooting them. But then at that point you're like, oh, I get, like, this is when you accidentally went underwater. So you're like, okay, I get it this time. So you go underwater right away.
This part, by the way, I was playing this and this part made me laugh because it just never ended. Like, it goes on.
I'm pretty sure that part does not end. Yeah, you have to go underwater.
It goes on. No, that's what I'm talking. The underwater part where you're swimming underwater. Oh. It is just a very long bit, and it has one of the funniest parts where they talk about the history of boxing.
Yeah, no, you're going from screen to screen. That's the way. And the funny thing is, that's how you know you're progressing, is because then it'll give you the next little tidbit about the history of boxing, which is it accurate?
I don't think so.
It sounds accurate to hilarious. You're like, is this?
It totally sounds like it could be real. He talks about how boxing was really two people in a ring complimenting each other or something.
And then somebody added gloves. Yeah, and then it's a gentleman's sport.
And then one day somebody saw somebody get punched in the head on a playground and went, wait a minute, that's box. And then people got really upset about it. But now you can still go to gentlemen's clubs and seeing people in the ring complimenting each other.
It's so crazy. But then finally you get to the bottom of this big like labyrinthine thing, and you find a rocket ship which then flies off into space, and then the game becomes a text adventure, which I'm not gonna lie, like it's funny. It's like, it's been a while since I played a text adventure, but you're like, enter thing, climb ladder,
view
and you hit help, and it'll give you examples, and then you'll type the examples, and it'll say no, sorry, that was just an example.
There are no pancakes in space, idiot.
There are no pancakes in space. So basically, and I'm not gonna lie, I had to look this up because this part quickly becomes just a text adventure. Like there's funny things about it, and it is very non sequitur. But at one point I was like, okay, I get it. It's a text adventure. Like I want to get out. I want to see what the next thing is. The next thing is you getting kissed by a girl that's, again, within the text adventure, and turning into a human, and then you're back in frog fractions, again, eating bugs, but you're a human, and your tongue doesn't go, it goes as far as a human tongue goes, so the bugs just build up and kill you because you can't do anything.
You can't.
But then it turns into Dance Dance Revolution, which you can't score real well, or if you can, you're amazing.
Yeah, I did real bad on that.
Yeah. And then the credits happen, but they either are not the credits or the last part is the epilogue. The credits are great. Again, this even though I'm spoiling every little bit, it's playthrough.
The visual, actually doing it and seeing it makes a difference.
And then it turns into a business simulator where you're in the bug Oval Office because upon becoming prince, you became king and or president.
Mm-hmm.
And you are doing bug porn.
You're producing it. You're not actually making it.
Yes. Good distinction.
That's it. Let's be fair. We're not doing anything like illicit here.
But the upgrade screen is still there, so you can still buy some upgrades. And then finally you buy a presidential swimming pool upgrade, where you just are there to take a break, and it put me there on the presidential pool, and you can just move back and forth on your lily pad, or you might be on your turtle again, or I think I was on my dragon maybe.
Yeah.
You can't do your tongue out, so I'm like clicking around. I'm like, oh, there's no bugs. I can't get a score. I'm like, you know what it is? You go underwater.
Gotta go underwater.
The second you go underwater, the Rage Against the Machine theme from The Matrix starts playing. You know, like where he's flying away, and I freaking die. Like that is it, because you're going that moment because you're going underwater. Like it's hopping off again, man. Oh my gosh, I'm having to physically restrain myself from losing it again. I for 5 minutes straight at least, and then again after that, anytime I thought about it, just oh my gosh, it was amazing. Like I get it. I get it now.
I did not enjoy the game as much as you did, or find it as humorous.
So, but did that joke land though at the end?
Yeah, I know. I got it. It was funny. It was funny. It was a funny game. You've been
on a trip.
It definitely did not make me like. It didn't hit me as hard as it hit you. It was funny though. It was very funny.
I don't. How much did you go to a guide? Because that was one thing I was concerned about, because you were trying to kind of blast through it before we started.
I only
recording.
used a guide for the single thing that I missed in the text adventure was I didn't fill up. I forgot to look at my inventory, and I forgot that I picked up the can.
Gotcha.
And so I didn't realize that I needed to, like, as soon as I looked at the guide that said use the can, I didn't even have to finish the sentence. I knew exactly what I needed to go do. I hadn't played.
And I didn't find out there was a drawer in the living quarters, and that's where the manual was to drive the ship.
Yeah, and I haven't played a text adventure also in many years, so I forgot that I could look at my inventory.
Man.
Yeah, it was funny. It was novel.
A visual novel at one point.
Visual novel. Hey, we spent a lot of time today talking about us and nothing about what we normally talk about, which are stupid video games. Let's talk about those.
A couple of things that came out this week. Steam announced its best sailors. Nice.
It's
I am
Sailor
Frog
Jerry.
Fractions.
It's Johnny Depp. It's
Sir Francis Patrick,
Paddy Wagons,
the man from
Uncle.
A Perfect Storm.
Mm-hmm.
The best sellers of 2016, which top 12 in no particular order are Civ 6, Counter-Strike, Global Offensive. Some of these, obviously, no surprise at all. Dota 2 was another one. The free game. It's one of the best sellers of 2016.
20 million. That sold $20 million worth of content for the International in 2016, by the way. Keep that in mind.
Alone. Dark Souls 3, Fallout 4, Grand Theft Auto 5, Rocket League, The Division, Total War, Warhammer. Redundant.
War.
Right, we talked about that. Warhammer.
Yeah, Warhammer.
The Witcher 3, XCOM 2, and almost the shocker, No Man's Sky.
I don't know why anybody is surprised by that. I think it's
more controversial than a bomb.
Well,
I guess maybe that's why people would.
I don't know why. Like, look at what it's the top 100 sellers. That game sold
top 12.
Yeah, in this case, the top 12. And there are not, and for as big of a deal as that was with all the refunds, I don't think there were that many refunds given. And I don't know that refunds are taken into account here.
Also true.
If refunds are taken into account, then maybe No Man's Sky doesn't make this. But with all those pre-orders, man, it does not shock me in the least.
Fair enough. The other thing Steam did was announce the winners for the Steam Awards, which we haven't mentioned, but the categories were pretty entertaining in their own. So the category Villain Most in Need of a Hug, Portal 2, which I guess they were probably referring to GLaDOS there.
I guess. Sure. Okay.
I thought this game was cool before it won an award. Euro Truck Simulator 2.
That one I agree with. Yeah, definitely.
Test of Time, game that you just good today as the day you first played it. Skyrim.
This is one. You know what? Go to hell.
You're not into that one.
TF2.
Oh, that's right. It was TF2,
Yeah.
Civ 5, Terraria, and
Age of Empires
HD. Yeah, Age of Empires. All right. Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
I've never played Skyrim, but I could probably get there with you.
I understand why Skyrim fits. I do, but TF2 has more longevity in my opinion.
Just 5 more minutes was CS:GO.
And that's one I don't get either because I've played the
Again,
game.
we're talking about the Steam Awards here, so I mean,
no, totally. That's just one that I understand, I guess, to a point, but that's one where like Civ 5, Fallout 4, Terraria, and Rocket League all to me are infinitely more apt to get me to go, okay, I just need 5 more minutes to finish this. Whereas CS:GO, you finish a match, okay, I'm done for the day. Like,
yeah, this is Fallout 4, Terraria, or it's almost 2 different categories. It's like, because Fallout 4 and Terraria are more like progression based, like one more. And that's where I get stuck more often than not. Yeah, with a multiplayer thing, I hardly ever get in the one more game thing. I get in the I'm done mode, and I'm done.
and we've proven that out numerous times on the Hit Play.
Yeah. Whoa, dude. Award. Some games melt your face. Maybe it was a crazy plot twist, etc. Was Grand Theft Auto 5? Sure.
Yeah.
Although it beat Doom.
Doom,
probably not.
Metal Gear, Phantom Pain, BioShock Infinite, and The Witcher Wild Hunt.
Yeah, Doom. Well, we all know how we feel about Doom. Again, one of our best games of the year. If you haven't listened to that podcast yet,
you should.
Game Within a Game Award. Also Grand Theft Auto 5.
This is another one where I probably wouldn't have chosen this one. I probably would have gone with Stanley Parable or, Gary's Mod or The Witcher. Man, Gwent is super fun.
True, yeah. I feel like The Witcher might have been And yeah, what are we talking about for Grand Theft Auto 5? What's the game within the game there?
Well, you can play tennis. You can play golf.
None of those are as fleshed out as Gwent, though.
No, not at all.
Seem like a the I'm Not Crying, There's Something in My Eye award went to The Walking Dead. Sure. Did you tear up during The Walking Dead at all ever?
No.
When it's been so long now, but when I think you have to give up the kid.
Clementine?
No, the kid of.
Oh,
it has been a long time. One of the main dudes, but I think his wife also goes off at one point too. But at one point she has to give up their kid, or you do, or
yeah, I know what you're
somebody might have to put him down or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, man, games. The Walking Dead, that's such a hard property for me, and we've talked about that. Like, I cannot get emotionally invested in The Walking Dead.
It's rare, and I'm not saying I bawled, but and it was weird too, because at the time I feel like it shouldn't have hit. I feel like it didn't earn it, but it
did it.
Got me to well up. Yeah, it was kind of interesting. Anyways,
I would have been more apt probably with This War of Mine. So the games that were here, Life is Strange, This War of Mine, Undertale, and To the Moon. I didn't play Life is Strange, To the Moon, or Undertale. This War of Mine, though, like,
you tear up for that one.
I did not tear up for it, but that's one where, man, that is an emotionally exhausting game.
Gotcha.
Because it's emotionally exhausting in a way that that a game like That Dragon Cancer isn't. That game is emotional in one very specific sense. This is
interesting that didn't make the cut here either. I feel like that would have been
yeah, and that's the other thing. These seem very arbitrary.
Well, yeah, which is part of the. I mean, they're kind of meant to be, yeah, and their community voted too. So I feel like there was an actual, anecdotally, kind of a backlash against That Dragon Cancer. Actually, there are some complete idiots out there, like giving that family a hard time for exploiting their son's illness and death.
Yeah, look, people deal with things their own way, and this is how they dealt with it. Shut up.
Yeah. Best use of a farm animal. The people who complained about That Dragon Cancer.
Yeah, actually That Dragon Cancer won this one, so suck it.
Goat Simulator, actually, but and then Boom.
Real quick.
Okay.
This one in particular was one that I'm really glad Goat Simulator won, because the dill holes that make Ark chose to put out a little thing on their Steam page saying, hey, vote for us and we'll release these farm animals like as soon as we win.
Oh,
they're going to release content if they won. And on top of the fact that it says best use of a farm animal, I have not played Ark, but there were plenty of people that commented on that. Like, we don't have a farm animal as it is. Why is this nominated?
Hey, community. Did I mention their community nominated?
You know what? Boat Simulator. Big fan.
Boom Boom. Explosions are pretty great. In a blockbuster movie, they're thrilling. In a celebration with fireworks, they're beautiful, etc. Doom took that one.
Boom Boom. Doom.
Maybe Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes was on the list, which I think is smart, but probably for lack of actual explosions might have hurt its chances.
This is another one where you and I both know I love Doom. You love Doom. Explosion-wise, I don't know, I'd probably go Just Cause 3, honestly. That game
man, actually, you're right. Yeah, that's on here too.
That game is 100% explosions.
Interesting.
That's all that game is.
Lots of surprises here. Love-hate relationship. Games are just supposed to be fun. Oh, sweet summer child, your naivete is adorable, etc., etc. Dark Souls 3.
Probably true.
Yeah. But considering they're pulling from any time, I feel like Dark Souls 1.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, why is this one here and not Dark Souls 1 or 2?
I know that Super Meat Boy, Dota 2, Darkest Dungeon, Devil Daggers is not on here. Could have been on there. Sit back and relax. Did you read the description for the Love-Hate Relationship Award? This is the opposite. Euro Truck Simulator 2 also. Is that the second award this one's taken?
Euro Truck Simulator is a very popular game.
Euro Truck Simulator is taking the most.
Indeed the second win.
And the Better with Friends Award between Don't Starve, Gang Beasts, which we saw a little bit of. That's the one where they're like doughboys. Like
yes. I really want to play that game. I just like...
Magica and Golf with Your Friends. Left 4 Dead 2 took it, which can't disagree with.
Yeah, that's that's
one of my top multiplayers of all time.
Time.
And that was the Steam Awards. This next thing is worth some time, but there isn't necessarily enough there for it. Basically, Remedy gave an interview with Polygon and or more people. The one we're pulling from mostly is on Polygon.
Yeah.
Where they talked a lot about Remedy as a company, but they also not necessarily let slip, but they detailed very little about their next upcoming game. I went through the article and I tried to cull what things we did get, because it does make for an interesting discussion at the very least, which is what the point of the interview was anyways. But they are working on a new game. We know this. They're doing a story mode for Crossfire, which is a Chinese game. They, I guess as a company, got to the point where putting all their eggs in one basket was becoming less and less desirable. Being Remedy, that's kind of what they do by nature because they work on a game for so long. Apparently that was the case again with Quantum Break, which probably almost broke, or it has seemingly broke this way of doing things for Remedy. It did fine enough and showed up on more people's Game of the Year lists than just ours. Again, one of our Games of the Year.
Yeah, because we're smart.
There was some way you could know all these. But so now they're talking about something that they've apparently been talking about since Alan Wake, is this idea of creating, and again, this sounds like nothing new unless you consider that it's Remedy.
Right.
But creating an open world where the player creates the story, right? Which, again, doesn't sound different. Like this, that sounds like somebody talking about GTA any day of the week. But
yeah,
consider this as Remedy, consider where they've come from. And again, if you can read the article and see how they talk about it, they're obviously talking about something different. Even in this show, we've already talked about how I kind of like to be, me myself as a gamer, I like to be led. That's one of the reasons I like Remedy. That's one of the reasons I was way off from anybody who was upset about the whole Commander Shepard thing for Mass Effect, and how that turned out. Like, I like being led. I want to see where the storyteller is going to take me. Sure. I love the interactivity, and I love what's there, I am allowed to do, and how much I am allowed to invest and take part in some of these stories. It's one of the strengths of video games, period. But I can see an a Remedy open world being something very different than a Rockstar open world, for instance, right?
Oh man, are you kidding me? Like that, the Remedy open world, and I have to be really careful about it, because that's, we've mentioned it before. Remedy is one of those developers for both of us that kind of is, they're top tier. They're at an echelon that, Ubisoft only aspires to be. But
we love remedy.com.
But the way Remedy puts their games together, and the how cinematic they do write their games, and the way Sam Lake as the creative director likes to build those worlds up. Yeah, man. Like the idea of a Remedy open world is infinitely more interesting to me than just about any other company doing that.
So what we do know, they're using words like moving away from linear. And again, this is something they've been bouncing around since Alan Wake. They are comfortable saying it's a cooperative game in an open world where players create and or tell their own stories, is basically everything they're ready to. Like the interviewer pushed the envelope a little bit, but they were like, no, we're not going to talk about literally anything else. That's all you're going to get in terms of this new game, which they're calling a P7, probably stands for Project 7 or something like that. It's not the title of the game. It's just what it's called internally at the moment. And they are aiming for multiplayer. Like that's one of the things. It seems to be one of the tentpoles so far.
No, if they keep it in the sense that like they're saying it's a cooperative game in an open world, and it really is like it's a smaller game for smaller amounts of people, and you don't have the open world like The Division, maybe they get away with some of those standard Remedy issues. But if you're going to do an open world like The Division or anything even remotely resembling that, and it falters even a little bit, and players just don't have the stick with it for that. Like it's just not. The Division
is that something that they're shooting for? Are they shooting for a game that never ends like Destiny and The Division? Are they shooting for something that has a season 2 and 3 and as many as you will pay money for? Which it turns me off more and more every day. And it already turns me off pretty good.
It's fair.
Will they be happy with creating something finite like they have been in the past? That's been their strength in a lot of ways. Like telling a story that has a beginning, middle, and an end.
No, one of the things, and one of the things that does, it's a minor, but it does concern me, is I look to Remedy games, and one of the things I love about them is they're single player games.
Also,
that's huge.
That's one of my favorite things about all games, to be fair. But yes,
right. But their games in particular, because they're single player and they're so cinematic. They're told in that Remedy style. I don't know if it's going to lose something having multiplayer.
It'll be interesting. I really want to see what they do, because I trust them and I trust their creative vision a lot more than most companies out there, period. Most game-making companies.
We love Ubisoft.com.
Last but not least, I don't even know, like this is... I thought maybe it was worth mentioning, because remember when Palmer Luckey was like, hey, I support Trump, like in a pretty bad way, which is saying something somehow.
Yeah.
Even though later on he maybe said he didn't or something. There was the whole thing about, we never talked about it. We made a conscious decision because whatever, but he supported Trump by way of some people on the internet that create pretty gross memes, basically.
Yeah.
Anyways. He's disappeared. They disappeared that dude. So whatever.
Palmer Luckey is dead now.
Who they probably should have disappeared apparently is Dov Katz, Oculus's head of computer vision, who has now apparently been arrested for propositioning what could have been a 15-year-old but was in fact an undercover police officer. Right?
I think I'm finding what the Rift is in Oculus Rift.
Boy, it's from normality, apparently. Oculus, if you thought 2016, this is Donald Trump somewhere it's like saw this and was like, man, I thought it was bad when he kind of supported me in some way. Right?
Like, what am I going to do for VR now?
You know, even Donald Trump is like, I don't know if I'm okay with Oculus as a company.
Yeah, I think I may have to invest in HTC Vive.
Look it up if you want to know.
You
more
can
about
download new Trump Vision. It's real great.
it. Oculus is on fire.
And since the Oculus is on fire, I think that leads us to things that cause fire, such as lightning in the lightning round.
All right. It's me, right?
It is you. We have one minor news item, and that's what the lightning round is for. Minor news items that we don't want to spend more than about a second on. Here
Yeah.
we go. 30
All right.
seconds on the clock.
Okay.
Ryan Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. The lightning round starting now. Ariana Grande will be a guest character in a Final Fantasy mobile game.
Nope.
There
Shut
it
This
is,
is
Final
stupid
Fantasy.
bit. This was a stupid bit. Shut it down. This is what games are coming out.
Games? Don't worry about games. Today, right now, at this exact moment, you could go ahead and log on to Overwatch. The Oasis map just dropped today. Or dropped yesterday. Go play that. Games coming out tomorrow. My game of the year, early running. Milkmaid of the Milky Way.
Sure. Sounds gross.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're going to be playing next week? If we come back to having, if by some way we can do another one of these next week, if there's any reason to, what games will you have played between now and then?
Oh, I don't know, Roy. What games would I be?
Forza Horizon 3 by way of accent?
No, unfortunately, that was my terrible Richard Iowade impression from the IT crowd. Yet another show you should watch if you've never actually watched it.
I have. Very good.
It's a fun
At your request, in fact. One of the things you did tell me to watch, and I did then watch.
I really like that show. It's very funny. Yeah, I don't know.
Fair enough.
I will probably play more of the Gwent beta, actually. I want to dig into that a little bit more. I want to finish up my Overwatch PC placements. I will probably spend a little more time with Google Earth this week.
Right.
And WWE.
Where are you going to go?
I don't know. Where should I go? Give me suggestions.
Go to my childhood home.
Okay, send me the address and I will.
Okay.
I could go to Belize. Go to Alsace.
Yeah, you won't believe it.
I could go to Alsace, Lorraine.
I don't know who that is, but
Don't
was
worry
she in
about
Back
it.
to the Future?
She Alsace, Lorraine, McFly. Yeah.
I'm still going to play Forza Horizon 3. And
Oh yeah, that.
probably a whole bunch of that. My wife's gone until tomorrow. Let's play some games.
All right.
She's probably coming back, so we might want to hurry.
No!